Autistic Girl's incredible bond revealed, she changes Billionaire's mind on calming dogs forever. Ava had always felt like an outsider in the bustling suburb of Maplewood. While other kids laughed and ran through sprinklers, she found comfort in the gentle nuzzle of a dog's nose and the rhythmic wag of their tails. She believed that the world could be understood through their unconditional love. Living with her single mother, Sarah, a waitress who worked long shifts just to make ends meet, Ava learned the importance of hard work and the value of family. Each summer, as families gathered for barbecues, Ava would sit off to the side, her heart warmed by the gathered laughter, but her spirit soared when she was surrounded by her furry friends. One day, Ava found herself at a dog training program. She eagerly signed up, hoping to turn her passion into something meaningful. Little did she know, her partner would be none other than Thomas Blake, the reclusive billionaire living on the edge of town, ensconced in a mansion that loomed like a fortress. When they first met, his dismissive smirk made Ava feel small. "What can you possibly know about training dogs?" he sneered, eyes clouded with skepticism. But Ava didn't flinch. She welcomed each dog with a gentle touch and soothing voice, drawing their trust with every interaction. Slowly, Thomas began to observe her methods. At first, he shook his head in disbelief, clinging tightly to his biases. Yet, as the days passed, he found himself drawn to Ava's authenticity. With each dog she trained, her kindness broke down the barriers he had built around his heart. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As they prepared for the local charity event for veterans suffering from PTSD, a shared mission ignited their friendship. Ava, with her innate talent, found her calling in training therapy dogs. Her face sparkled in the summer sun as she effortlessly demonstrated how to comfort even the most anxious pups. But then everything turned, as a local influencer questioned Ava's unconventional techniques, painting her as a phony. The bitterness of doubt pooled in the community, and whispers tainted the air. Despair threatened to envelop Ava, weighing heavy on her chest. But she thought of her mother, her unyielding strength shimmering in her memory, and she knew she had to fight. Ava summoned her neighbors, rallying unexpected allies who believed in her methods. Her courage lit a fire amid the uncertainty. Thomas stood at the periphery of the growing crowd, grappling with his own fears. Would he retreat to his retreat of privilege or embrace an alliance that transcended everything he had ever known? The tension was palpable, painting the air with worry and hope. Ava stood firm, hope swelling in her heart as she faced the crowd. Would they see her truth? Would he stand with her and seize this moment? As the stakes climbed, the fate of their relationship hung in the balance. Could Ava's spirit pierce through Thomas's cynicism? Would love and acceptance conquer their differences just as they dared to dream of a better future? Ava's heart raced as she faced the crowd. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm, golden light over the assembled faces. She could feel the weight of their doubts pressing down on her. Whispers wound through the air like tendrils of smoke. But she refused to falter. "Everyone!" she called, her voice ringing out clear despite the churning doubts. "I know what I'm doing. I can help these dogs. I can help you." Her gaze met Thomas's, searching for strength. His face, a complicated mixture of admiration and fear, made her feel both braver and more vulnerable. He needed to understand her fight, just as she needed to understand his quiet struggle. A couple of murmurs turned into nods. Some folks in the crowd edged closer. With each step they took, Ava's heartbeat echoed in her ears. This was her moment, the moment she had dreamed of since she first discovered the magic of dogs. "Let me show you," she said, turning toward the therapy dogs waiting patiently. Each one had its own story, its own struggle. She knelt beside Buster, a timid beagle whose frightened eyes were shadowed by the darkness of his past. Ava gently stroked his fur, whispering sweet words meant only for him. The beagle leaned into her touch, eyes softening with trust. With the crowd watching, she demonstrated how to sit with the pups, encouraging them and building a bridge of connection. She waited patiently for Buster to respond, and slowly, he began to wag his tail. Laughter and cheers erupted from the growing audience. Her heart soared. "Look at him!" one neighbor exclaimed. "He trusts her." But the references to her attacks still lingered, their static dissonance threatening to overshadow everything she had built. Just when it appeared that the tide might finally shift, the influencer stepped forward again, casting a long shadow. "This is just a trick. Look how she's manipulating their hearts." His voice dripped with venom, snapping the moment like a fragile twig. Ava felt her breath hitch. The clamor of jeering voices masked her thoughts, but she couldn't let the words of a stranger falter her resolve. Looking around, she saw faces filled with confusion and doubt. Even Thomas's panic clawed at her chest, but she remembered her mother's faith, and how it had anchored her during stormy nights. "You may not believe me," she began, allowing her voice to tremble, "but the core of training these dogs isn't about control. It's about understanding, love, trust." In that moment, she shared her truth. Each dog has a past, just like us. We have to embrace it. She glanced at Thomas once more, her eyes pleading for his support. With a hesitant breath, he stepped closer, breaking through the miasma of skepticism. "I've seen her work," Thomas said. His voice was steady, pulling all attention back to him. "What she does is pure magic. It's not just about training, it's about healing." The crowd buzzed, the tide shifting. Ava's heart raced again, this time with a new surge of hope. People began to exchange glances, their judgments wavering in the light of truth. She felt the faintest smile tugging at her lips as uncertainty echoed in the back of her mind. Then, without warning, an unexpected bark from the back startled everyone. A dog had darted from the crowd, bounding toward Ava with exhilarated energy, a fluffy golden retriever racing through the laughter and chatter. The dog paused, tail wagging wildly as it caught scent of Buster, who seemed to brighten at the unexpected visitor. "What's happening?" Ava asked, excitement mixing with anxiety. The golden retriever was covered in mud, his joyful spirit a stark contrast to the tense atmosphere. As he sidled up to Buster, both dogs shared a moment that transcended words. A realization washed over Ava, startling and clear. They were all in this together, a family of beings seeking connection. Could this unexpected twist change everything? Would the sudden joy of a dog's innocent exuberance sway the hearts of the crowd? As she opened her arms, inviting the golden retriever to share in the moment, Ava felt a glimmer of hope. But one thing stirred deep within, a quiet fear that sometimes magic shied away when you needed it most. What awaited them in this tangled web of doubt and hope? In that pivotal moment, Ava dared to dream bigger. The golden retriever bounded forward, muddy paws planting themselves on Ava's jeans, igniting a wave of laughter that washed over the crowd. In that moment, the air shifted. Ava felt the warmth of joy spread, echoing through the hearts of those who had been skeptical just moments before. "Look at him. He's just so happy," a woman from the crowd shouted, clapping her hands like a child. Buster, encouraged by the exuberant newcomer, wagged his tail with an excitement that Ava hadn't seen before. It was proof this was a connection beyond words, it was the healing power of spirit. "See?" Ava said, her voice rising above the chatter. "These dogs heal one another as much as we help them." The crowd edged closer, eyes sparkling with curiosity. Thomas leaned forward too, his gaze intense. For the first time, the veil of skepticism seemed to lift, revealing the possibility of understanding. Ava knelt down again, inviting the golden retriever closer. He plopped down next to Buster, golden fur and beagle ears mingling in a sweet tableau. "They can teach us so much." Just like us, they thrive on friendship and trust. A man, perhaps in his 40s, stepped forward, eyebrows furrowed but curiosity tinging his expression. You really think they understand each other? He asked, genuine wonder creeping into his voice. Yes. Ava replied, nodding vehemently. It's about communication beyond words. A wag of a tail, a gentle nuzzle, it all speaks volumes. Buster leaned into the golden retriever, and the two dogs began a playful dance, each weaving around the other in circles, tails wagging like flags of victory. Laughter erupted again from the audience, this time tinged with something more hope. As the crowd's energy surged, Ava felt a rush of adrenaline, like stepping onto a stage for the first time. She needed to keep this momentum. Everyone! She called out, her voice echoing with newfound confidence. If we can embrace the connections between these dogs, imagine what we can do for ourselves. Some eyes widened as realization dawned. Others looked expectantly at Thomas, who wore a smile of encouragement. She's got a point, he said softly, but loud enough for those around him to hear. These dogs can show us how to trust, to love, to heal. But just as the tide seemed to turn for Ava, a shout pierced through the excitement. It was the influencer, his face flushed with contempt. This is nonsense. He thrust his finger at Ava, as if trying to draw the crowds back into his grasp. You really think stop? Ava's voice came out louder than she intended, but it carried every ounce of her courage. She took a deep breath, grounding herself. The crowd shifted again, some moving closer to her side, some glancing back at the naysayer. You're wrong, she said, her voice steady. These dogs reflect us. Their struggles mirror our own. They lift each other, just as we must learn to lift one another. A silence fell. The air thickened as every person absorbed what she had said. The golden retriever, sensing the gravity of the moment, sidled up to Ava's leg, his warm presence a comfort amid the tension. And then, a small voice broke through the quiet. Can I help? A young girl, maybe 7 years old, stood at the edge of the crowd, her eyes wide and innocent. She reached out toward Buster, and the gentle beagle bounded toward her, tail wagging again in the spirit of friendship. Of course. Ava beamed, her heart swelling with gratitude. This is exactly what we need. As the girl knelt by Buster, the crowd seemed to breathe as one. Could a single spark of courage change the fate of this gathering, shifting hearts and minds? Ava sensed that something magical was on the horizon, yet there was so much at stake. Would the golden light of connection she had hoped for flourish, or could it be snuffed out in an instant? The young girl, with her messy ponytail and bright pink raincoat, leaned down and gently scratched Buster's ears. The sweet beagle let out a soft whine of contentment, pushing his head into her small hand. The laughter continued around them, but Ava felt a different pulse emerging, a connection that spread like ripples across the surface of a calm lake. Let him sniff your hand first, Ava said. She knelt beside the girl, the energy in her chest electrified. She could feel the crowd, their tension, their hope, their curiosity coalescing into something beautiful. It felt like they were on the brink of a new understanding. The girl complied, extending her tiny hand toward Buster. Hi, buddy, she said softly, her voice almost a whisper. Buster's nose twitched as he tentatively caught her scent. After a moment, he bounded forward, licking the girl's face with enthusiastic abandon. A collective "os" erupted from the audience, and Ava's heart swelled with warmth. This wasn't just about dogs. This was about hearts opening, barriers dissolving, and healing taking root. With each tentative smile and shared laugh, the atmosphere shifted. What's your name? Ava asked the girl, who giggled as Buster continued to shower her with playful affection. Emma. She beamed, pure joy lighting up her face. Is he always this happy? Only when he is surrounded by good friends, Ava responded. She glanced at the crowd, whose attention was now fully fixed on this priceless moment. People began to step forward, drawn in by Emma's innocence and Buster's charm. One by one, they approached, shared their own smiles, and crouched down to meet the now enthusiastic beagle. Adult faces transformed, their brows softened, and eyes sparkled with unexpected delight, but then, the influencer stepped forward again, a scowl back on his face. "This is all just a gimmick," he sneered. "A fancy show to distract from how these animals should be properly treated. Don't be fooled." Ava's stomach flipped at his tone. She felt the subtle breeze of doubt creeping in, but she wouldn't allow it to take hold. "Wait," she said, raising her hand, her tone suddenly calm. "You're right. We need to talk about how we treat animals. But what if the way we view them indicates how we treat each other?" The words hung in the air, heavy and charged. Thomas stepped beside her, a subtle nod of support, and whispered just loud enough for her to hear, "Keep going. You're making an impact. So, let us talk about respect, compassion, and connection for everyone involved," Ava continued, her heart beating wildly. "Let us recognize that every moment, like this one, brings us closer to understanding not just the dogs, but ourselves." Emma's eyes widened as she glanced back at Ava. "Like Buster helps me not be scared when I'm sad?" "Yes, exactly like that." Ava's voice felt rich with emotion. "Buster reflects our feelings back to us. And as we learn from him, maybe this community can begin to heal together." A flicker of realization ignited in several faces in the crowd, but the influencer was far from swayed. "You can't change minds with this nonsense. People need data, research." Ava didn't falter. "But sometimes connection is the best data there is. Just look around." The crowd murmured, their faces alight with subtle agreements, and soon Emma stood tall, her small but brave voice cutting through. "I love Buster. He makes me happy. Everyone should know how to be friends with dogs." With that declaration, a wave of encouragement flowed through the audience, a ripple of camaraderie that started to drown out the negativity creeping in. As the crowd surged, laughter and excited chatter swirled in the air. Ava's heart raced. This was turning into something bigger than herself. But then her gaze caught the influencer's contemptuous stare, and an unsettling feeling twisted in her gut. What if the naysayers were right? What if this moment wouldn't be enough to spark change? And then she spotted a familiar face at the edge of the group. A woman she hadn't seen in years, someone whose judgment had once stung like a bee. Would she step into support or amplify the doubt? Ava's breath quickened. What awaited her next was as uncertain as it was fraught with possibility. Ava felt her heart skip a beat when she recognized the woman standing there, arms crossed, peering through the crowd with a skeptical expression. It was Lisa, her old friend from college. Once tight-knit, their friendship had fallen apart over a single misunderstanding that hurt them both. Now, Lisa held an air of authority, an expert in animal behavior known for her strong opinions and critical gaze. "Here we go," Ava whispered to herself. She swallowed her anxiety, willing herself to move forward in this moment of vulnerability. "Hey, Lisa!" Ava called out, forcing a smile onto her face. The bright sun cast shimmering lights on the surrounding trees, but all she could feel was a shadow creeping in from her past. Lisa approached, the crowd parting as her heels clicked sharply against the pavement. "Ava," she replied, a slight nod of recognition. But Ava could sense the weight of judgment in her tone. "Didn't he expect to see you here?" Ava considered her words carefully. "Yeah, I know. But look at this. Look at what Buster is doing." She gestured toward the beagle, who was now surrounded by more kids, each giggling as they played together. "Cute gimmick, Ava," Lisa said coolly, arms still crossed tightly. "But it won't solve the real issues. This isn't what animal welfare is about." Ava felt her heart sink, but she wasn't willing to back down. "What if I told you this is part of it? Helping people connect with dogs can teach us compassion. Just look at Emma. She's already smiling like Buster gave her the key to happiness." I'm not denying the joy, Lisa responded, shaking her head. But it's naive to think these interactions have any lasting impact. Change requires studies, statistics, actual research. But Lisa, Ava pressed, feeling the warmth gathering in her chest again, what if those statistics mean nothing if people don't feel connected? What if it's about moments like this one, where people can actually see the joy and potential in creating bonds? A glimmer of hesitation showed in her old friend's eyes, but the hard edges remained. You're idealistic, Ava. You always were. Ava took a deep breath, steeling herself. Maybe we can't change the world in one day. But change starts somewhere like here. Just open your heart for a minute, and see what's possible. Lisa looked away, the crowd's laughter and chatter humming like a soft lullaby around them, igniting a confusion in her expression. Ava felt herself leaning closer, desperate for a connection with her old friend. Would she find a way to soften her hardened heart? In that moment, a little boy rushed by, nearly bumping into Lisa. He was clutching a rainbow-colored dog toy, eager to bring it over to Buster. Excitement lit up the boy's face, a laughter that echoed the pure joy that surrounded them all. What do you see? Ava asked softly, her gaze fixed on the child. When you watch him with Buster? Lisa's eyes followed the boy, and for a second, the world around them faded. She lifted her chin, vulnerability brushing against her usual resolve. I see happiness. Before she could respond further, Emma approached them, a wide smile plastered across her face. Can we help Buster play? She asked innocently, completely unaware of the tension in the air. Ava's heart swelled again. The vibrant spirit of this child was infectious, potentially breaking down the walls that had held her friendship with Lisa captive for too long. Absolutely. Ava exclaimed. Anyone can join. As the kids began forming a circle around Buster, Lisa hesitated, moisture brimming at the corners of her eyes. Ava, she began, her voice softening for the first time. But before she could finish, a sharp bark broke through the laughter. Buster darted off with the toy, causing the children to squeal, and for a fleeting moment, nothing else mattered to them. Ava glanced back at Lisa, a question lingering in the air, suspended between the two women. Could they really rediscover their bond amidst the joy unfolding around them, or would the doubt return to drown it all? Let us join them, Ava urged, heart pounding as she took a step forward. But Lisa stopped, her eyes sparkling with uncertainty. Maybe you're onto something here. Ava blinked, hope igniting within her. Was this the shift they needed? As the kids scampered about playing, laughter filled the space. Yet, the tension between Ava and Lisa lingered, waiting for resolution or the return of old barriers. One thing was clear: the day was far from over, and monumental change might be closer than either of them imagined. But would it come from sharing joy, or through confronting the doubts in their hearts? Ava felt a rush of determination. Lisa was right there, so close, teetering on the edge of decision. This was not just an ordinary encounter, it could be their moment of reconnection if only she could bridge the gap created by years of misunderstanding. Come on, Ava urged again, her voice barely above a whisper. Let us not miss this. With a small sigh, Lisa seemed to draw a breath, hesitating as if weighing the heaviness of her past against the promise of the present. She finally uncrossed her arms, a crack in her facade that Ava had longed to see. For just a heartbeat, she looked softer. As the children clapped and hopped around Buster, Ava felt a gentle tug on her heart. She knew this moment was fleeting, an opportunity to rewrite their story. But would Lisa grasp it, or run back into her well-fortified box of skepticism? Okay, let us do this together, Lisa finally said, her voice barely above the joyful cacophony. She stepped towards the group, and Ava's heart soared. The kids cheered as Buster bounded toward them, tail wagging wildly. They tossed the dog toy back and forth, laughter infecting the air like a sweet melody. As Lisa crouched down, her serious demeanor melted slightly, replaced by genuine curiosity as Buster jumped into her lap. She chuckled, the sound warming Ava. He's quite the charmer, isn't he? That he is, Ava replied, sensing a shift. Maybe he's got some wisdom we could all learn from. With each passing moment, Ava watched as Lisa began to relax. The children pulled her deeper into their circle, and even Lisa's laughter spilled out, mingling with theirs. Suddenly, the gulf that once felt insurmountable began to grow smaller. Emma, with her wide innocent eyes, approached Lisa. "Can you throw the ball for Buster too?" The little girl's enthusiasm radiated, and without hesitation, Lisa took the toy and launched it across the grassy knoll. It was a simple act, yet it transpired as a major breakthrough. Buster darted after the toy, the children cheering again, and for the first time, Ava saw a genuine smile on Lisa's face. It was beautiful, and the way it lit up her eyes shifted something in the air. "See?" Ava said carefully, as she took a step closer, vulnerability tinged with hope. "This is the connection I was talking about. It's real. It matters." Lisa turned, brows furrowing slightly, caught up in thought. "But how do we make it last? These moments they go away. Doesn't he everything?" Ava replied softly, her heart thumping. "You can't measure joy. You just have to embrace it when it comes. Wouldn't you agree?" Lisa hesitated, contemplating the truth in Ava's words. Yet, even as the clouds shifted overhead, darkening the edges of the bright day, Ava felt a charge. There were no easy answers, sure, but this interaction was the beginning. Suddenly, a loud pop echoed from the nearby concession stand, where the festival's colorful balloons had burst. It startled everyone, including Buster, who yelped and darted toward Ava. Ava knelt to comfort him, her heart racing again, but this time, she felt Lisa's hand on her shoulder. "I guess we all have our fears to work through." Ava turned to meet Lisa's gaze, the realization dawning on her that they were both confronting something here. The weight of unresolved emotions lingered, but the sign of vulnerability sparked something else: understanding. "Can we talk more?" Ava asked, heart pounding. "Can we find a way forward together?" Lisa nodded slowly, the shadow of doubt still present, but hope lingered bright in the air. As the laughter continued, Ava knew they were still on uncertain ground, but together, with steps as unsteady as their friendship, they could rebuild. But as the gathering began to disperse, an unexpected twist awaited them: a figure at the edge of the crowd, one who could change everything. Ava squinted, trying to see through the throng of festival-goers. Who could it be? And what impact would they have on Ava and Lisa's fragile rekindling? Ava squinted through the drifting festival crowds, her heart racing in anticipation. The figure at the edge of the festival took a step closer, and suddenly, Ava's breath caught in her throat. It was Sarah, her childhood friend, the one who had moved away without so much as a word months before the fallout had begun between her and Lisa. "Sarah?" Ava breathed, disbelief mingling with excitement. Could this be a coincidence? What were the chances? Lisa looked at Ava, curiosity lacing her features, though a hint of confusion shadowed her expression. "Do you know her?" Ava nodded, still trying to comprehend that Sarah had returned. She could see now that Sarah's warm smile had always had a power to draw people in. Hope ignited in her chest again. "Hey, Ava." Sarah's voice rang out, bright and full of the old familiarity that had once made the trio Ava, Lisa, and Sarah inseparable. She approached them, and the children temporarily quieted, noticing the buzz of the reconnection. "Wow, it's been ages. How have you been?" "I've been good. Moved back just last month, actually." Sarah glanced towards Lisa, then back at Ava. "I heard about Buster. Is he a good boy? I need to meet him." Ava laughed, still buzzing with the joy of their shared past blending with this unexpected reunion. "He's chaotic, but we love him anyway. You should throw a ball for him too, you might even win him over." "I think I can manage that." Sarah winked, then crouched down and stretched her arm out, tossing a ball for Buster effortlessly. The small crowd erupted in cheers as the dog dashed after it, his energy infectious. As Sarah stood back up, she turned to Lisa, who had been watching, intrigued. "It's so great to see you here," Sarah said, her smile genuine. "I've followed Ava's journey. It's beautiful seeing how much she's dedicated herself to the community and taking care of Buster. He's lucky." Lisa blinked, taken aback by this new light on Ava from Sarah. She searched Ava's eyes, the tension between them suddenly filled with something softer, curiosity laced with a budding connection. "How do you know Ava?" Lisa asked, somewhat hesitant but also eager to understand. "Oh, we grew up together. You know how small towns are. We've been through all those crazy childhood moments. I even remember the time we tried to build a doghouse and ended up with a giant, lopsided mess." Sarah laughed, her eyes sparkling with the memory. The tension between Lisa and Ava began to dissolve as laughter erupted around them. Ava felt the warmth of that memory wrap around her, like a comforting blanket, taking her back to simpler days. Could this be the bridge they needed? "Those were some good times," Ava said, a hint of nostalgia in her voice. "But there's more that's happened since then, things that have pushed me and Lisa apart." Sarah nodded, her expression serious. "I've heard snippets. Sometimes, we forget how deeply our past can intertwine with our present choices. What matters is now." Lisa's questions hovered in the air, but the weight of her doubt began to lift, replaced by a realization maybe it wasn't just Ava seeking connection, maybe she needed Sarah's perspective too. "Maybe we all need a fresh start," Lisa mused aloud, glancing between them. As the festival continued around them, Ava's heart raced with hope anew. Could Sarah be the catalyst to bring them closer? To mend what had been broken? Just then, another loud pop echoed from the direction of the concession stand. Buster jumped, barking, the commotion causing the children to scatter. "What now?" Ava asked, laughter lacing her tone as she watched the chaos unfold. But in the midst of the laughter and excitement, Ava caught a glimpse of something more, an expression on Lisa's face. It held the promise of something deeper. Would they figure this out together? Could the past truly guide them into a better future? As the crowd swirled and the colors of the festival danced outside, Ava couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to shift dramatically, and not just with the unexpected visit from Sarah. Ava watched as Sarah effortlessly engaged with the surrounding crowd, her laughter cutting through the chaos like a warm breeze. The way she interacted, light, playful, and genuine, sparked something in Ava. It felt like an invitation to let go of all the heaviness that had clung to her for so long. Lisa's lingering tension began to soften with every smile. Buster, on a short leash, pulled at Ava, trying to join the fun. "Hold on, buddy," she chuckled, keeping a firm grip. The dog's antics, chasing after other kids and their running laughter, reminded Ava of simpler joys in life, genuine connections formed through shared experiences. As Buster settled down with a few festival-goers tossing treats his way, Ava turned back towards Sarah and Lisa, who were deep in conversation. Lisa's eyebrows arched as Sarah recounted a wild story from their childhood involving a mud pie incident that had left Ava's backyard looking like a recent tornado had swept through. Ava felt the warmth in her chest expand as she overheard Lisa laugh. The sound came out like a soft melody, a rhythm she had almost forgotten. This laughter, theirs mingling with the festival's music, filled her with a dizzying sense of hope. "So, you're saying you and Ava were real-life troublemakers?" Lisa teased, her eyes sparkling. No wonder she's had it rough being an adult. Hey. It was all in good fun." Ava joined in, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Sometimes trouble finds you, you know." Sarah playfully nudged Ava. "True. But you've turned that trouble into something beautiful, Ava. That's what I admire about you." Her compliment landed gently, leaving Ava momentarily speechless. In that moment, Ava noticed a glimmer of vulnerability in Lisa's gaze. Just as quickly, That flicker was replaced by a resolve that Ava had seen before when Lisa had to make tough choices or face issues head-on. "Maybe we can all make some new memories," Lisa suggested, bravely steering the conversation towards the future. "We should hang out more just like old times." Ava's heart fluttered. Could this genuinely be happening? A chance for new beginnings. The thought danced around her like the colors of the festival. But doubt still nipped at the edges of her excitement. "I'd love that, but what about everything that happened before?" Sarah stepped closer, her expression earnest. "Maybe that's where we start. This connection we had, it shaped us, yes, but it doesn't have to define us now. We can learn from it, grow." Ava faced Lisa, who was now scrutinizing her with an expression of tenderness mixed with uncertainty. "What do you think, Lisa?" she asked gently, her heart thumping like a drumbeat echoing in her ears. Lisa took a deep breath. "I think I want to try. I miss us. All of us. And maybe fresh starts don't erase the past, they just put a new spin on it." Suddenly, another loud pop cracked in the air, drawing their attention to the fireworks launching into the night sky. Brilliant colors burst forth, raining down like stars awakening from a long sleep. Gasps filled the air, and the crowd's energy soared. As everyone looked up, lost in the beauty above, Ava turned to find Sarah's gaze on her, a soft smile playing on her lips like they shared a secret. The feeling was electric. The butterflies soaring in her stomach were a mixture of hope and something newer, possibly even a hint of reconciliation, but before she could respond, Buster barked, snapping Ava back to reality. He tugged at his leash, eager to join the merriment. Ava laughed, giving in to his enthusiasm. "Come on, buddy, let us go celebrate." As they joined the gathering crowd, Sarah's hand brushed against Ava's, a fleeting connection that sent warmth flooding through Ava's veins. Was this real? Could the path ahead be illuminated by their shared histories? But as the last firework lit up the sky, a new thought emerged in Ava's mind. What next? What uncharted spaces lay before them as they stumbled together into this unknown future? As she looked at both Lisa and Sarah, an overwhelming sense of excitement mixed with trepidation filled her heart. What if everything they thought was broken could be mended in unexpected ways? The night's celebration would only be the beginning of a journey filled with questions and revelations waiting to unfold. Ava felt the warmth of the festival wrap around her like the glow of fireworks fading in the night. Buster pulled earnestly ahead, his tail wagging vigorously as he darted between people. The laughter and chatter of the crowd swirled around her, but her thoughts remained glued on the moment she had just shared with Lisa and Sarah. "Wait up, Buster," she called, tugging at his leash. He gave a playful bark, as if urging her to hurry. As she navigated the vibrant crowd, she glanced over her shoulder. Sarah's face shone, illuminated by the remnants of firework light, a radiant smile lingering there. Next to her, Lisa was beaming, a mix of hope and vulnerability painted across her features. "Can you believe this? We're all together again," Sarah exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over as they jostled through festival-goers. Ava felt a sense of disbelief. Had they really come this far? With every step, Ava vowed to savor this moment: the laughter, the joy, and the shared space. "What should we do next?" Lisa asked, her enthusiasm contagious. "We can grab some cotton candy, or maybe check out those dancing lights." Buster suddenly halted, mesmerized by a group of children twirling glow sticks. They were laughing, their energy palpable, a reminder of childhood freedom. Ava knelt beside him, scratching behind his ears, feeling that familiar sense of warmth envelop her. Yet, a whisper of uncertainty passed through her mind. Was it truly possible to reconnect? Was it too soon to trust again? "Let us go toward the stage," Ava suggested, trying to keep the mood light. "I can't miss the dance-off competition." "Dance-off? Count me in," Sarah declared, jumping up and down as if she was still a kid. Lisa shook her head, chuckling, before joining in, the three of them almost holding hands now as they moved through the crowd. As they found a spot near the stage, Ava felt the music throb through her. The beat pulsed beneath her feet, mirroring the quickening rhythm of her heart. She seized the moment open, carefree, letting the music wash over her like a wave of freedom. With their laughter echoing around her, she watched as Sarah and Lisa began to sway, moving to the upbeat song. Buster, ever the performer himself, started to leap around, alerting nearby kids to join in his playful antics. In that moment of lightheartedness, Ava embraced the laughter spilling from her lips, forcing herself to let go of the weight on her heart. Could this really be a new chapter? Just then, a pang of realization struck her. What if she faltered again? What if the past began to creep back in? Doubt shadowed her heart, but before it could settle in, Sarah spun around and reached for Ava's hand. "Come on. Dance with us," she urged, her eyes glimmering with encouragement. Caught off guard, Ava hesitated for just a heartbeat before surrendering. With a quick laugh, she joined Sarah and Lisa, letting their movements envelop her like a warm embrace. They laughed together, a beautiful blend of freedom and connection that reminded Ava that joy wasn't just about the absence of pain, it was choosing to embrace the moment. Lost in the music and laughter, Ava didn't want to think ahead. For once, she simply wanted to be present, to feel the cheerful chaos all around her. But somewhere in her mind, the question lingered, refusing to dissipate: what would happen when the music stopped? As the dance-off began, the crowd cheered, energy surging through the air. Ava's heart raced not just from the rhythm around her, but the possibilities ahead. But beyond the bright lights and open laughter, there lived an unspoken truth that she struggled to grasp. What if the clarity came at a price, one she wasn't ready to pay? And as the music enveloped them once more, Ava felt the tremors of uncertainty crawl back in. Would she be able to navigate this newfound connection and confront her fears head-on? With the crowd cheering and the stage lights flashing, Ava knew the moment was just beginning, but the journey was only beginning to unfurl. What awaited them under the surface as they reveled in this night? Ava gasped as she felt the rhythm of the music pulse through her veins. The laughter and cheers spiraled around them, wrapping her in a cocoon of joy and possibility. She danced alongside Sarah and Lisa, their movements melding into one joyous expression of freedom. Buster jumped in the center, enjoying the spotlight like the star he was. Ava's heart swelled. Maybe the bond they once shared could be kindled anew, woven together by these moments of laughter. As the music swelled, Sarah gestured toward the stage, where a group of kids were preparing for the dance-off. "We should join that," she shouted, her eyes sparkling. Ava and Lisa exchanged glances, a silent agreement passing between them. Together, they rushed toward the stage, laughter trailing behind them like a ribbon in the wind, but doubt lingered in Ava's mind, echoing the past. Yet as the music enveloped her, she felt the shadows of worry dancing away. They were all here, right now, reveling in this moment together, a trio once broken, now repairing itself, layer by layer. Sarah, ever the firecracker, launched herself into the dance competition with abandon. Lisa followed suit, and Ava couldn't help but giggle at their enthusiasm. The cheers of the crowd echoed in her ears, a serenade that harmonized perfectly with her own heart. This was the joy she had missed, found in the connections rekindled under the sparkling festival lights. As her friends moved rhythmically, encouraging her to dive in, Ava felt a bloom of courage. "Let us show them how it's done," she shouted, leaping into the fray. She twirled and spun, letting the music guide her. With each step, she released years of frustration and sadness. This was more than a dance, it was reclaiming her place, her voice in a community that had once seemed so isolating. "Go, Ava!" The crowd cheered, their voices blending in a song of support that made her smile wider. Buster jumped and bounced by her side, ready to share the spotlight. In that moment, doubts melted away, she felt anchored by love, driven by the warmth of friendship. But in an instant, as she glanced at Sarah and Lisa laughing together, a wave of realization washed over Ava. This was a choice they were all making, to embrace connection, to carve out something lasting. They were choosing to build a bridge over the chasm of their past misunderstandings. Suddenly, the music faded only to be replaced by clapping, laughter, and shouts of encouragement. They had become the talk of the festival, everyone buzzing about the power of their joyful reunion. Ava could hardly believe it. In one wild dance, they had transformed the atmosphere from one of skepticism to one of hope. At that moment, she spotted Lisa pulling away slightly, her smile laced with something deeper. Ava followed her gaze, realizing it was directed at the crowd, puzzled faces full of awe and disbelief. The familiarity of doubt began creeping back. What if it doesn't last? Lisa asked, her voice barely audible over the noise of the festival. Whatever happens, we face it together, Ava replied, heart pounding. We've already taken the first step. Let us keep moving forward. Lisa's expression softened. What if we foster a real community? One where people support each other, where we teach others what we're learning here today? Yes. Ava beamed, her heart brimming. Just imagine what we could create. As they gathered in a circle, inviting Buster to join, the surrounding crowd drew closer. Each person was drawn in by the magnetic pull of genuine connection. Sarah moved to the center, turning the energy from the dance floor into a dialogue about the power of trust and love they had experienced that day. It felt electric, the way the crowd began to contribute. We want to help. One voice called out, sparking enthusiasm. I've been thinking about how much every dog teaches us. Another shouted, every voice added to the momentum. Ava literally felt the threads of what they were weaving tugged at her heart. Yes, this was the change they all yearned for. And as if an invisible wave of affirmation rippled through the crowd. Each individual became part of this awakening, each one sharing their own stories of connection as they took turns to hold Buster, sharing their laughter and listening. In one moment of vulnerability, doubt lingered. What if skepticism crept back in, but the truth was unmistakable, unfolding like a bright canvas before them all. They were writing a new story, and this was only the beginning. Together, we create understanding, Ava said passionately, her fingers interlacing with her friends, anchoring them in this collective dream. With our love fueled by these creatures, we can make a change that lasts. As the night continued, the festival carried on around them, a tapestry of community, not just of dogs and children, but of hearts intertwined. The future glimmered before them, and with every laugh, every wag of a tail, and every light shining bright, it sparkled with profound potential. Ava smiled, feeling the warmth of lifelong bonds fill every corner of her heart. This moment was theirs, their awakening to what connection could build. And as they danced under the starry sky, she didn't just see a future, she felt it alive in her heart. In that community, built not only for the dogs they loved but also for each other, something truly remarkable was born. So, what comes next? You need to subscribe now to this channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every click helps us reach more hearts. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Where do you see this journey going? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us spread this message of love and hope.